Hello, this is Holland Timmins, also known as the Connoisseur, and this is my third video of the comics that changed comics. And today we are looking at the EC archives, mainly two titles, Tales from the Crypt and Weird Science. As you can see, these comics were made in the 50s in the pre-code era. They really cheesed off this psychiatrist, Dr. Frederick Wortham, who blamed comics for the rise of juvenile delinquency. He wrote a book called Seduction of the Innocent, which slammed comics. But to be fair to Dr. Wortham, he did a lot of good. I just don't think he understood comics. Much like many politicians today don't understand video games as forms of entertainment, Dr. Wortham just didn't understand comics. But that doesn't mean he didn't do a lot of good. He was just not misinformed, but he just didn't have a good sense of direction in terms of comics. So anyway, he blamed comics like these for promoting juvenile delinquents. But interestingly enough, these were done by Bill Gaines and his stable of artists. EC Comics stands for an entertaining comic, but it used to be educational comics. They used to do stuff like Bible stories and stories of science and stuff. But when Max Gaines, who started the comic book industry by creating the comic book, he eventually invented the comic book and helped publish Superman and Wonder Woman. That pretty much helped create DC Comics with those two characters. And along came Batman afterwards. But he sold his shares and went on to create EC Comics. Anyway, the comics weren't very good, according to Bill Gaines, his son, who took over after Max Gaines died in a tragic boating accident. Bill Gaines took over and created the new direction in comics, with such books like Tales from the Crypt and Weird Science. These books went on to create characters like the Crypt Keeper, the Old Witch, and the Vault Keeper. After the Senate investigations, EC was part of a witch hunt, and the other comic book companies ganged up on EC Comics because they were the best sellers. They created the Comics Code Authority, essentially designed to get rid of EC Comics because EC was so popular it was outselling. So they took their humor magazine, Mad Comics, and turned it into Mad Magazine. I'm pretty sure you've heard of Mad Magazine. Anyway, in the 90s, Tales from the Crypt would go on to create a television show called Tales from the Crypt. It was an HBO show. I have all 7 seasons and a couple of the movies. It's really good. Interestingly enough, for Weird Science, John Hughes directed a movie called Weird Science, which turned into a television show. Had nothing to do with the comics, and it makes me wonder if he can create a movie and television show based off an old comic title. Could I get away with directing a movie called Tales from the Crypt and then turning it into a television show? Probably not. But it's an interesting idea. Anyway, these comics are very good. This is Weird Science Volume 2. As you can see, it's just a lot of fantastic stuff. Something missing. They reprint the letters pages and stuff. It's really interesting. These are really interesting comics, you know. Really great artwork as well. These are among the best comics ever made. Not exactly superhero, but superheroes were practically dead at this point. So, that's their science fiction comic. Now this is their horror comic. As you can see, the Crypt Keeper looks a lot different from the HBO Crypt Keeper, but that's fine because this is the classic comics. And yeah, these are horror comics with really great artwork and great storytelling, great writing. Yeah, so that's the Crypt Keeper, and I don't know, there's more EC archives being bound and printed every day. If you're looking for entertaining comics, well, look no further than EC Comics, because they are entertaining comics. So if you're tired of being lectured by comic book writers about politics or anything like that, or just sick of the propaganda, the political messaging, Weird Science, Tales from the Crypt, all the other EC comics that are being printed, check them out. They're really great. I would highly recommend them. Yeah, I don't think they create juvenile delinquents if you're worried about that. So, what else? I was going to say something else. I don't know. Just check out the comics. They're great. If you're looking for good comics, go to your local comic book shop, order up some EC archives, and prepare to be entertained by comics. Alright, this is the Connoisseur signing off. If you like this video, please share, comment, like, subscribe, whatever. I'll be making more videos, and I'll catch you on the flip side.